Hey everybody, welcome back to another design tutorial in Adobe XD, and today we are designing this cool drop down menu animations all inside Adobe XD using Auto Animate. And as you can see, we have this one morphing kind of drop down, and this graph drop down, and this cool bottom to top kind of drop down, and this minimal drop down as well, because how can we forget minimal in 2019? And also I will be giving you this little bonus animation with this cool button. It's kind of like a 3D button with background shadow as well, drop shadow as well. And without further ado, let's just get started. So to get started, I will start with an artboard which will be 1920 by 1080, which is the web artboard. It's fine. By the way, while I'm doing this, I also have a Facebook page where I interact with everybody and we have a great time there, so go check that page out as well. I have this rectangle that I've created. I'll give it a border of 12 pixels. You can increase the border radius depending on how broad or how small your box is, but this is a plain simple box. I'll remove the borders and I'll give this slightly bluish purplish color, which I've already saved in this Adobe XD file, which I will be linking down in the description, so you can go check that out. And I will give this a text overlay saying let's call this India. And this is Cerebri Sans, 32 pixels, and let me make this a white text. Perfect. And let me just put it in between. You can make this larger as well, 38 pixels if you want. Just place it in the middle, make sure, and about 40 pixels from the left. So this is a cool drop down. I've already made a symbol right here. I'm just gonna ungroup this symbol. And I want this arrow to be white as well. Perfect. And this is fine. Now for the drop down, I'm just going to group this out, and what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'll create the drop down menu itself, which will be just another rectangle right here, right below this. Remove the border again and give this the same color as here, and make this 50% opacity. Perfect. And I want it to be behind everything, so make sure it's behind everything, and give it a border radius of 12 again, the same as this button as well. And I want a list, so I'm just gonna bring the text, select the text from here, and I'm just gonna say United States, or whichever country you want to enlist, and make this slightly smaller than 38, 32. It should be slightly smaller and less highlighted than India right here. And you can make it this dark purple, or for visibility's sake, just keep it white. And just make a quick list of these. Make sure a distance of 20 pixels between each of these, and say United Kingdom or whichever countries you want. I'm just putting random countries right here. I don't know, China. And Japan. By the way, shout out to my Chinese viewers. I've gotten a few emails from my Chinese viewers as well, so kudos to you guys. Thank you for watching. I don't know, Poland. I don't know, even Poland. I don't know, man. Russia. Just cliche countries, you know what I'm saying? And there's a quick drop down, and I'm going to group the text in this one right here. And now what I'm going to do is now comes the slightly tricky part, so pay attention. So I'm going to make another rectangle over this, and I'll make this much smaller, so something like this. And I'm going to use the repeat grid right here and make multiples of these till the edges. Perfect. And make sure that there is no distance between each of these, so just reduce the distance from whatever distance it is to 0, and make sure it's 0. Perfect. And just repeat again, use repeat grid to expand this. Oops. And that's perfect. And I'm going to ungroup this grid, And right from here, without unselecting this, right besides repeat grid, you can see there's this add button. Click on this add button, and now this is one complete element. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this and the menu behind it and say Command Shift M to mask it. Perfect. Now all I have to do is double click on this area, on this mask, and just randomly move these sort of rectangles in different directions. Just randomly place them wherever you want. You know, it could be on top, it could be on the side, whichever you want. I'm just going to fast forward this so you don't get bored. Yeah, perfect. Now as you can see, I can't really touch the mask here anyways, but I can go back to this my layers panel, and I can see this mask group 5 is here. Double click on it, go to group, and you can see all these squares or rectangles are just here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this, Command D to duplicate the artboard, the entire artboard. And in this artboard, I'll go to this mask again and group 10. And as you can see, these rectangles are selected. And I'm just going to bring all of these together and cover this area that we have with these rectangles. So make sure you place them in the correct manner. You can just randomly place these blocks. You don't have to remember where you had put them, where they were before. Okay, now as you can see, all these squares or rectangles, whatever you want to call them, are back in place. If you exit, you can see everything is now, I'll just refine this a little bit. You know, where it's lacking, I'll just put them in order. And as you can see, it's slightly tricky to reselect them. Now it looks perfect. So to animate this, just go to prototype mode here, click on this menu and just drag this arrow right here. Say auto animate, which is already selected, on tap, and ease out 0.3 seconds. Let's change ease out to snap. And let me have about 0.67 seconds on this. It's a little too long, but just for the effect right now. And if I click on it, there you go. So it kind of pixelates into a menu. Now I will create the second one. So for the second menu, let's just hold Option and just copy this over, just like that. And right here, I want to change the values from India to dollars. So $20. I don't know. Put anything you want. And since this is like a value kind of a drop down, let me create a graph for this. So first I'll just change this color of the background to this dark blue. Super dark blue, looks nice. And now I'll create a quick graph for you guys. This graph will later on become our drop down menu itself. Let me just create a quick graph for you guys. Okay, so there you go. It's a very super simple graph, nothing complex about it. And I want to fill it with this orange that I've saved. And let me just take this fill. That looks pretty cool. And let me cut this and place it inside this group. So behind the text and the menu options. And align it, make sure it's aligned and it's the size is proper. Okay, perfect. And that looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Now we want to change this graph from a graph to, let me just make it slightly taller, to be honest. Just to be slightly taller, something like this. And I'll convert this from a graph to a drop down. So let's duplicate this, Command D. Let me just put it right below the first one. In the second artboard, we will double click and we'll select this graph and we will simply bring it down like this. Make it as tall as you want right here. And what I'm going to do is double click on this so you can see all these anchor points, and double clicking on these anchor points will make them perfect sharp edges. So just bring all these edges to the bottom just like this, and double click on each of these to make it solid, not rounded. And there you go. And there you have it. You have a perfect rectangle, so as to say, and just put this right here. Perfect. Now for this, what I'm going to do, I'll just duplicate the layer, the text here, which we had in the previous drop down, because I'm feeling too lazy to make new text. So I'm just going to bring it right here and place it about right here. Perfect. And that's kind of perfect, right? Now this is slightly short, so let's just make this taller. Perfect. And let me give it dollar values. So dollar, I don't know, 10. Just give it anything. Okay, so this is almost done. Let's prototype this as well, so that we can see the animation in action. And let me bring it here. Tap, auto animate, perfect. Snap, about 0.6 seconds as well. And let's start the prototype and let's see how it works. Click on this, and as you can see, it drops down like as if it's paint falling down from there. So that was my whole idea, but it's actually a statistics graph, and it looks pretty cool to me as well. I'm just gonna go back to design and just copy this over just as it is to this first one as well, so it doesn't look weird. And for the third one, what we're gonna do is we will duplicate again this one. That's super easy. And what I'll do is I will make this background a yellow, which I've saved again, of course. And I'll make India from white to, I'll change it to a black. Perfect, just a plain black. And I want the arrow to be black as well. Perfect. So what's gonna happen now is I will duplicate this artboard once again, Command D to duplicate it, and bring it on last point here. Perfect. And now when this moves, I want this to be at the bottom. So first of all, what we want to have is, in the previous artboard, what I'm going to do is create a rectangle from beforehand, right? And I want a rectangle to be just about this size. And I'm going to just copy all this data over from here, just like that. And, you know, just because I'm feeling super lazy. So I'm copy this and I'll bring it right here. No, I'll just cut that out. Okay, so now that we have a rectangle, I will convert this to yellow as well, remove the border, and make it 12 pixels border radius as well, same as this one. So here I want a list of countries again, which I will bring from this artboard here. And let me bring United States, Kingdom, China, Japan, Russia, all from here into here, and just place it inside this menu. Perfect. And make this black, from white to black. Perfect. And I will group all these items and the background as well. Perfect. And place it behind this. So I'll say Command X to cut it, and inside this group, double click and say Command V to copy it, or Control V to copy it in Windows. And bring it behind everything else. Make sure it's behind everything else so you get a better view, and that's perfect. And I want this button to have a slight shadow, so it seems as if there's some depth. So I want the y-axis to be -6 and the blur to be 12. Perfect. We'll leave it like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this. I'll create another rectangle inside this group, just like this, which will act as a mask. And I will just make sure it's larger than the background. And I will select everything in the background and say Command Shift M. So now all these values are inside this mask. Bring it behind everything else. And I will double click on the mask and just make the mask smaller in height. Perfect. That's about it. And as you can see, it's now hiding. And what I'm going to do is just say Command C and just copy this over. Just remove this. It's of no use here. I'll say Command V to copy it over here as well. And now what I'm going to do is go inside the group and select India and this arrow. Just select everything in the background and just bring it to the bottom. And the masked group should now have an increased space. So the mask group should now expand. So go to the groups here, and as you can see, I have mask group 6 right here. Double click on that. Oops. Double click on that and say, click on the rectangle here, which is rectangle 18, and expand this to the top. Perfect. And now let's go back to prototype, and I will select this, and I'll bring the arrow from here to the last artboard and say snap 0.6 seconds. Perfect. Maybe 0.5 for this one, and auto animate. Perfect. Let's try this out now. And I have India here. I'll click on this and see how it expands. It's super smooth, it's snappy as we wanted it to be. And I'll just map this right back to this artboard. Perfect. So now everything here will work. Now let's come to the last one, which a lot of you guys might be waiting for, is the minimal drop down. So let's go back to elements here and select the rectangle from here, and I will create a separate rectangle which will be slightly slimmer than all of the others. And I want the border to be none, 0 border, and no border radius here. And I'll give this a shadow of 12 on the y-axis and about 24 on the blur. Perfect. And I'll just carry the this arrow. Yeah, I don't know why I was forgetting the word arrow. And I'll bring it right here, and I'll say India, because I'm from India. I am representing. So I'll just make this 50% opacity just to give it that gray look, and just bring it 30 pixels from the left. Perfect. Now I will duplicate the artboard, but here, before I duplicate the artboard, I want to create another rectangle which will list all the countries, and make sure it's just slightly below it, the top. So 1, 2, 20 pixels is fine. Remove the border and give it the same shadow, 12 by 24. Perfect. And I will, again, because I'm feeling lazy again, I will copy these list items from here. Perfect. And I'll bring them right here. And I want them to be black again. Perfect. So I know what I want to select, and bring it slightly to the left, maybe 30. Perfect. Or maybe slightly to the right. 50 is fine. And make it 50% opacity once again. I will group this entire box right here and say Command G to group it. Just make sure everything is grouped. Oops, not everything. So Command G and group everything here. And what I'm going to do is place it slightly towards the inner portion of this. And I'll say Command and colon or Control colon to hide this. Now you can't see it anymore. And I will duplicate this artboard, say Command D to duplicate it, and bring this artboard to the bottom right here. And what I'm going to do is double click here and remove the shadow. So I want the shadow to be 0, 0 right here. And now if I go to the layers panel right here, I can see here there should be a group below this, which is hidden right here. So group 15 is the group that we want, and I want to unhide it. So I can say Command colon again, or I can just simply click on this I, which says show, and let me bring this slightly to the bottom right here. Perfect. Now you can see I've highlighted everything here. And let's just go back to prototype and zoom out a little bit. Click on this and bring it right to the bottom here. So tap, auto animate, snap. From snap we'll go to ease out, and 0.5 seconds is fine. And from here as well, let's bring it back. So rather than saying 0.5, I'll say 0.2 seconds. Let's map everything out, make sure everything is mapped out perfectly. And I will create everything here. And as you can see, I'm just mapping everything right now. So if we check this out, if I click on India, it will bring this pixelated kind of effect. If I close this, I can close this. If I click on this graph, it'll kind of melt down and bring this to the bottom. Perfect. If I click on India, it will create this moving to the bottom kind of effect. And if I click on India here, it'll give me a minimal drop down kind of effect. Isn't it super, super smooth? Now I like that, but I know you guys want more for today's video, and I had promised this kind of arrow right here to like a 3D arrow placement. So what I'm going to do is right besides this, let's create 2 new artboards, which should be about a simple square will do. Here what I'm going to do is create a circle first. I will create a rectangle, a long rectangle, which covers almost the entire artboard. And you can make it thick or thin, whatever you want. And I'll remove the border and I'll kind of pick the gradient from here. So let me just go ahead, right click and say add color to assets. So as you can see, this gradient has been added. And here in the rectangle, I will add this gradient and edit this a little bit to move it laterally. That's perfect. And that's about it. Now I will place, again, copy this arrow from here. You can kind of see the magic happening. And I will give this a rounding of about 100 pixels here, just to complete rounded edges. And I will copy this arrow from there. The arrow, as you can see, is slightly bigger, so I'll just make this slightly smaller. And I've already given this a shadow, so a box shadow of 12 by 4. And I will duplicate this arrow and place one on the left edge right here. Perfect. And I will use a circle. So just draw a quick circle. The height should be the same here. And I'll place it at the edge like this, as so. And I want this to mask this entire thing. So I'll just bring it right here and I will group this entire panel right here. Say Command G or Control G to group it. And I'll bring this circle to the edge here and say Command Shift M or mask and bring this to the center. And I'll select this artboard and duplicate it just like that. And here what I'm going to do is say double click here so you can see this in the background. And I'll just drag it from right to left like this. Perfect. And to give it slightly more depth, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a smaller circle, a much smaller circle. And I will give this a shadow of about 80. So it's like here, and about 24, just like that. I'll place it slightly towards the bottom, just like this. And I'll place it behind all this Shazam. I'll place it behind all this and I'll say Command V here as well. Wait a minute. I'll just copy this and place it behind everything and say Command V here and just place it behind everything here as well. So if I double click here, I can prototype this and I'll bring this prototype here. So tap, auto animate. You can say ease out, but we'll use snap here and say about 0.6 seconds. And let's start the prototype and see the magic happen. So if I click here, as you can see, it's a quick little animation going on, which is a forward button or a next button, which is pretty cool. I hope you liked that video. If you did, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and just smash that bell icon so that you get notified about my videos every Monday and Thursday. And do check my other videos out as well. I have a lot of content, a lot of different content, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless.